My tripod setup is not working. Better now? Better now. I think I'm a little far. Bonjour mes amis, hi friends on YouTube. My name is Cece and my pronouns are she and her, and welcome to another Kokedama Live, where I make Kokedama, hang out with you and take questions and have a conversation. So we got a bunch of Kokedama that I want to make today, or tonight actually, and I just gotta get us started on Instagram as well. If I can figure this out. Honestly, I am a little frazzled because I went home to have dinner and then came back to the store for the live stream. Okay. And I finally learned that it's best to start YouTube streaming first because I can edit out this beginning part where I'm just scrambling all the time. Whereas you cannot do that on Instagram. And I suppose that's because YouTube is a dedicated video platform. And so this is episode 10. Good enough. I don't need details. Kokedama Live, episode 10. Add details. Checking connection. Oh, the camera's facing the wrong way. I can't. Bonjour, mes amis. Hi, friends. I am scrambling to get set up for the live, but my name is Cece and my pronouns are she and her. And welcome to another Kokedama Live stream. I'm gonna get y'all set up in the tripod here and make sure that you don't fall out and straighten out. There, finally. I have Facebook on this side, YouTube on this side. Welcome to the live stream. So today, tonight, I'm making Kokedama, hanging out with you, and taking questions, and also I'm going to talk about drugs. But before we get to drugs, let me show you what I want to work on. We'll see. I'm going to start with 3 and see how we do. And the see how we do is very much has to do with the drugs. And surprisingly, so I have my sign on, and previously I had turned it off all the time because it was in my videos, it was causing this vertical banding across the screen. And now I think it's because of the power supply. I recently replaced the power supply and it seems okay now, or mostly okay, which is great. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this philodendron and I can't remember the variety. Here, I'm gonna look it up because now that I can't remember it, I really want to know. Phillips, no. Birkin. Philodendron Birkin. I knew that. It's got this great like veining. I don't know. It reminds me of like striations in muscles. Like when you're like super strong and you have like the lines. That's what those lines remind me of. And then I'm gonna work on this Rhaphidophora tetraspermum. I used to think that was pterospermum, like ground terra, but it's tetra. And I wonder what that, because tetra is like for 4. And yeah, I wonder why it's tetra. Anyways, I'm gonna work on that. There's maybe 2 plants in here. And then I wanna work on this azalea, which is, azalea is a flowering shrub, and they're really pretty. They flower a lot during like spring and summer, but they will not tolerate drying out, and so you have to keep them really, really well watered, as opposed to like the philodendrons and the Rhaphidophora tetraspermum, which is often referred to as mini monstera, but it's not part of the monstera family. And I have a little bit of moss here, but I think we're going to be short for being able to do 2. So I'm going to process through a little bit of moss first, just so that we'll have enough to get through 2. And this has been sitting all day, so it's dried out quite a bit. Well, kind of completely. Okay, who is on Instagram? Petrichor Moss, Cecilia. Mitsumo. Matan Kiki. I'm so bad at these names. Petrichor Moss says that they love my work. Thank you so much. I kind of love doing it too. Kind of beats writing computer programs for me, which I used to do. So it's like spring has finally arrived, and all the motorcycles and the fancy sports cars are out, and of course, the boys got to show off, right? And so they're driving around making a lot of noise. But yeah. Unfortunate for me, because noise is one of my anxiety triggers. I'm not sure if it's actually anxiety, that one, but the end result is anxiety. It might be something else that then leads to anxiety. Yeah, we'll just do a bunch of moss. I got this new moss. Cruelly Leo, welcome to the live stream. It was really nice chatting with you the other day. It's like Okay, so Petrichor Dalmas commented on Instagram that that my style is such a good inspiration, and like that feels pretty weird to be, I don't know, an inspiration, but thank you. I'm glad that what I'm doing resonates with you and that it feels good. Yeah. And I'm assuming that you mean Kokedama style. But you know, I would not be offended if you thought my fashion style was good too. Oh, what was I? I forgot. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I was gonna say that this is the new moss that I got last Thursday, and like it's really nice and green and like fluffy. But there's sort of two different kinds of moss in there. So there's like this kind of moss, which is like sort of sphagnum-y, I guess. And then there's another moss that's, I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind, but it's like this. And it kind of has this like central stem, and then like, I don't know, it's like, it feels fern like almost. But in either case, it's nice and fluffy and green and pretty easy to work with. It's easy to process. There's not a lot of like mucky stuff stuck to the bottoms, which is really nice actually. But because it's spring moss, there are, I have been finding like bugs and stuff, like so little spiders and some jumpy, crawly things that I don't know what they are. Soyo Kokedama, welcome to the live stream. Shihin Plant, welcome to the live stream. And Structure Shelter Story, welcome to the live stream, all on Instagram. If on YouTube, if you want me to say hi, you can leave a comment in the like the comment box thing, and I will say hi. It's just that YouTube does not tell me when somebody joins and like who it is. Yeah. Yeah, the bugs can be like kind of scary. Like the spiders, not so much. They just like small and they kind of crawl around, but like things that like jump, they're like unpredictable and you can't like, I don't know, you can't really, yeah, they're just kind of scary. YYC Sexual Health, welcome to the live stream. I volunteered with YYC Sexual Health one winter before we entered pandemic land, and that was like super fun, and I met so many really amazing people there. And the work that they do is like super important in our city. And it was like I was volunteering for like a fundraiser. Petrichor.moss has a question. They said that they used to put living moss found in the woods on their Kokedama, but they die off a month later. Any tips to keep them alive? And then Colin O'Neill also just joined and said, love what you do. So probably, I'm guessing the type of moss that you were using looks more like, here, I've been like trying to grow some like kind of unsuccessfully. I'm guessing it's not like so stringy as this stuff. And I'm guessing this is dried out a bit. But I'm guessing it looks more like that. Here. This will make it look more normal. I haven't been taking good care of this, but usually if you like humidify it, moisturize sounds weird. I'm guessing it looks more like this. And what I've been finding with like this kind of moss, and I think the type is fluorocarp. I always mix up my aerocarps and fluorocarp, and I'm sure there's an easy way to remember it, but I don't. I find that type of moss really needs quite a lot of like moisture to like stay alive. And so like sometimes I will gather that type of moss and do kokedama with it, but I sell it as like kind of this like a premium kokedama because it requires so much more care. And we kind of have to pick plants that are going to be able to withstand the level of humidity and moisture that is going to need. So you either you have to water it like all the time, depending on where you live. Like here in Alberta, it's really, really dry. And so you're gonna have to water it, sort of maybe twice a day, to keep the moss alive. Or you're gonna need to keep it in an enclosure. And I actually have some African violets that I have in an enclosure where the moss is actually growing on the kokedama, which is like really neat. And the reason I made the enclosure actually is because the kokedama are like really tiny. They're like this big with tiny, like little baby African violets in it. And it's so small that they dry out in a matter of like sort of like an hour. Yeah, it just dry out so fast that it's a little bit impractical. And so the enclosure means that it just keeps that humidity in and keeps that keeps those kokedama like hydrated for a little bit longer. Okay. So petrichor moss, I hope that helps a little bit. Robert Plants NQ, and welcome to the live stream. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of the live stream that you can ask me anything you want as long as we're keeping it classy. So we don't have to only talk about plants or kokedama. We can talk about whatever you want. And I always kind of say that we can also talk about my non-existent dating life. And one of the things that I want to talk about tonight is drugs, and very specific. You're welcome, petrichor moss, and Laura, welcome to the live stream on Instagram. I'm gonna go grab my apron because things are about to get messy. And on the topic of drugs, I've been on a lot of medication, sort of in the last 2 years, and but one of the things that these pants. Okay, this is gonna look funny, but these pants are so funny because it has a bow here. See this bow? And whenever I like try to tie my apron on top of it, the knot of the apron is like just above the bow, and it like sticks out funny. Better. Thanks, Laura. Laura says that I'm gorgeous. And so I what am I doing? Okay, we gotta prep some soil, and then we'll make some soil balls, and then get to finishing the kokedama with moss. Yeah, so I've been taking a lot of medication because of my hormone replacement therapy. And that's been for like 2 years. And, I've had, we've added a couple of, we added one extra medication sort of on the way from starting to now. And that's been really good. Like, that's been super stable. That's been like, my body responded really, really well to that treatment, and like, it feels really good. And then and so I am on like tiny dosages for my HRT, which is really, I'm kind of an outlier where my dosages are like these dosages that normally people just start on to get them used to the meds, and then they like increase the dosages. And so it just seems like I am very, just drugs in general seem to work on me really, really well. And my body just kind of responds to it. I say that I have high susceptibility to medication. And so at the same time, what that means for me is that I cannot drink alcohol because I will just pass out like almost instantly. Like, I can't even drink kombucha, which is like less than 0.5% alcohol here. Like, if in Alberta, like, if you buy kombucha, it's considered non-alcoholic. And like, my kids can have it, and it's like not an issue for them. But if I have half a glass of kombucha, I'm tipsy, and like, my head kind of spins, and like, it's not a good time. I'm a very cheap drunk, I suppose you could say. Kokedama Creations, welcome. And Tanya, Eden, welcome to the live stream on Instagram. My brain is not firing on all cylinders right now. And yeah, we're going to get to that. And so, yeah, I'm like super susceptible to medication and all sorts of drugs. I used to drink lots of coffee. I love coffee, but I can no longer really drink caffeinated coffee. The other week, I helped a friend move, and somebody brought Tim Hortons. So like, Tim Hortons is like a big sort of fast coffee chain in Canada, and like, it's everywhere. And they brought Tim Hortons, and like, because I'm Chinese, like, if you bring something, it's like, it's hard for me to say no. And so I had some, and like I didn't even have half a cup, like the regular size. Um, Meow, meow, meow. Welcome to the live stream. I love your handle. And so I had some, and then I got buzzed on caffeine, which was weird, and I don't know, my head was kind of buzzy and spinny, which was not a good time. And then the other thing that I found out last summer is that cannabis smoke, like that is incredibly effective, I guess you could say, on me as well. Last summer, like it's legal here, and I'm just grabbing my soil amendment. Last summer, I found out that even walking through like a secondhand cloud of cannabis while outside with the wind blowing, that if I get more than a couple whiffs, like if I don't notice it right away and I'm breathing deeply, I am almost like I am high. Like it takes nothing for me to get high. Which is really, it's actually really scary for me. Who just joined? 505 and the 519, welcome to the live stream. And JJ, Jan, John, welcome to the live stream. I'm just telling stories about drugs. And Amber Flower Yoga Candle, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, and so I was finding that, you know, if people were smoking cannabis outside, that if I walk through that, I am likely to get high, and like not just like kind of high, like higher than a kite kind of high. Mediban, welcome to the live stream. Like it's like the type of high where my head is spinning and I can't walk straight, and I want to throw up kind of a high. It's a very not good time for me, especially if I'm just walking somewhere and somebody is smoking it at their home and it wafts over. That's actually a really scary situation for me. Or like if I'm driving or something like that, because suddenly I'm driving under the influence. Yeah, so that's like super scary to me, and like all of this is going somewhere, because I recently is Friday, right? So it's Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. So like 5 days. Yeah. So like 5 days ago, I started a new medication, and it's a medication, it's an SSRI. So for those of you who are familiar, you'll probably know what that is. For those of you who aren't, that is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. And so it's something that's prescribed for as an antidepressant, or also for anxiety. And I do get depressed, but it's not typically a really huge thing for me, but anxiety has been a really huge thing for me. Fifi Keefe, welcome. And Maya Lakantu. Welcome to the live stream. I have put too much water, so we gotta get more soil. Hopefully I don't overflow this. Yeah, so I recently started medication for my anxiety, and that's been a really sort of interesting journey for me because and then also a couple of weeks ago I started seeing a therapist as well. Welcome, Mexico. Yeah, so I started that medication. I started seeing a new therapist, and culturally, anti-anxiety medications for Asians is that's a hard thing to do. And for me, being raised the way I was raised, I kind of, I was the eldest sibling. My little brother is 4 years younger than me, and my parents worked really hard to provide for us, and that meant that we spent a lot of time on our own. And so I ended up kind of, taking care of my brother a lot, which I love. We are we're close, we're close siblings. And but at the same time, I developed this sort of identity around being the responsible one and being the person who could do all the things, when something messes up at home, yeah, you're the elder sibling, you're gonna take care of stuff, right? And I kind of really took that and ran with it for the rest of my life. And it manifests in sort of my relationships, where I'm really bad at asking for help. I think that I can do everything myself. And that manifested at school, where on assignments where I was I was overwhelmed and didn't know how to do it. Sometimes I would just give up. And my moss is falling over. And so that's kind of been my personality, and into the last couple of years, sort of, I'm going to start with something tetrasperma, Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. Sorry. That's my brain being fuzzy right now. Lotus Botanica, welcome to the live stream on Instagram. Yeah, so that sort of over the last couple of years, since starting transition, I've I describe it to a friend as having a lot of destabilizing events in my life without a lot of protective factors. And it's stuff like divorce and having to move out, and living on my own for the first time, and sort of having family that I really cared about and love not really accept me for who I am after I came out, and verbal abuse on the street, and so all sorts of stuff. And then my parents really struggled with accepting me for me, and so that was super destabilizing, and I didn't have a lot of protective factors. I'm very lucky that I have lots of supportive friends, but at the same time, I also lost um, a bunch of friends, friends that I'd had for many years, like 20 years, where suddenly, um, when they started seeing me as a woman, they just didn't respect me anymore. And so yeah, like destabilizing, right? And protective factors would have been like if my parents were like really supportive, like that would have been a protective factor. The protective factors that I did have were my really supportive friends. And I'm so grateful and appreciative of them. And I like leaned on them so much, like so much. Um, and Sorry, my brain is not doing talking and focusing on this at the same time. Um, and so my anxiety over the last 2 years has been like building and building and building and getting worse and worse. And I'm pretty sure that I've been dealing with anxiety my entire life. But when I was married, I leaned heavily on my spouse for support, and that made a huge difference in my life. And um, and where sort of after coming out and like starting my transition and stuff, I no longer had that support to lean on, um, and like I owe a lot of my having survived this long on my ex-spouse. They are definitely the most loving person that I've ever known, and yeah. Anyways, so my anxiety. Toby Graffi, welcome to the live stream, and Hoopet, welcome. I'm gonna separate this a little bit. I think I'm gonna have to. This one is gonna have to go in the propagation. Well, it's got a root. That's good. And so my anxiety has been getting worse and worse and worse over the last couple of years. But like I am, one of my skills is sucking it up. And what I mean is that I just, when stuff is tough, I just push through it and keep going. And that's what I did with my anxiety. I was just like, I can do this. I can get through this. I just have to suffer through it, and I'll come out the other side. And it's like, oh well, I'm just gonna do research, and like I'm gonna try meditation and exercise and all of these things that we're told that. Marie, welcome to the live stream. That we're told, like if you do these things, like that's gonna help your anxiety and you'll be better. And I did those things, and I was not better. I've been steadily getting worse, and like getting used to high levels of anxiety all the time. And so I was like going to bed anxious and waking up anxious and going through my days with the anxiety climbing over the day. And sort of to the point where I, at work here, I was becoming very, very ineffective. I would be able to do like an hour, maybe two on a good day. And then my anxiety would just really take over. And the only thing I could think of was soothing my anxiety because it was just so strong and overwhelming. And I didn't realize how bad it had gotten because it just got worse like over time, like not suddenly. And um, because I recently moved in with a roommate, um, she was the one who noticed. Lucienne, welcome to the live stream. She was the one who noticed that I would come home and hide out. Like I would come home, crawl into bed, and hide, lying. Like I would just lie in my bed under the covers, and I would do that for an hour, 2 hours. I think the longest that I did it was 4 hours. And she was like, "Do you realize that you come home and you hide for like extended periods of time before you come out to like make dinner and feed your cat and like kind of like do normal stuff?" And I hadn't realized that that was how much time I was trying to like when I got home, like trying to soothe and recover. Um, and and like along the way, a couple of weeks ago, I had a couple of good days, and like I would come to work and I was able to make like lots of Kokedama and be productive and like get them on the website and post them on Instagram, and people were interacting with my business and purchasing things, and where previously I've been having like really quite bad episodes of anxiety, um, and like that was keeping me from making a living because I wasn't able to work effectively when I came to work. And like that was a big sort of turning point for me where it's like this anxiety thing is affecting. I mean, obviously it's affecting my day to day, but it's affecting my ability to make a living. I'm an entrepreneur, like I run this business all by myself. And so if I can't be productive at work, I am not making money. And if I'm not making money, I'm not putting food on the table or paying rent. Um, and like that's a huge burden. And then that contributes more to the even more to my like anxiety. It's like anxiety about anxiety. And finally I was just landed in this place of I have to do something. And I and like the only like I kind of tried everything else, and it felt like I think I have to try medication, but I was so scared of medication, because this is the soil ball. I was just really scared of medication. I heard so many stories of like people struggling to find the right medication for their anxiety or depression, find the right dosage. Stories of people like saying that they felt dead inside and like that, like numb. And I was like, I don't want to feel like that. Like, who wants to feel like that? I actually spent a lot of life kind of feeling like that, and I don't want to go back to that. Blob, welcome to the live stream, and Xiao Maramelu and Smiley Orange, welcome to the live stream. But I like kind of asked around with my friends, like who I know have like been on medication for like anxiety or depression, and then I was just like, okay, what was your experience? And a couple of them were just like, oh, like that's like the best thing that ever happened to me. They were like, well, I went on medication, and it took, like 2 or 4 or whatever number of weeks to like kind of adjust. But they kind of described it as like being on medication took the edge off of their condition, and that meant that they could get through a day without burning all of their energy on just managing their anxiety. And it meant that they had, energy for their families and energy to work on the things that their therapist wants them to work on. And that sounded really appealing to me. And one of the stories is actually from my friend Alexandra from Sargessa Tea, and she's a big proponent of like destigmatizing using medication, and like that was a conversation that we had, and then with some other, like a couple of other friends, and so I was like, I have to try this. I have to try something, because I am, finally realizing that I cannot do this all by myself. I've tried all this self-care stuff, I guess, and I'm at the point where self-care means reaching out for help. It means realizing that I can't do it all by myself. I don't have the skills, and I don't with the way that my conditions are right now, it's just not possible. And so I talked to my doctor, and like Alexandra was like, yeah, and your concerns about dosages and stuff, like talk to your doctor about that too, because I mean, he should care. And so I did, and my doctor was like kind of surprised at how sensitive my body is to medication, but I mean, he's seen that with my hormone replacement therapy as well. And so I started on this SSRI called escitalopram. I think one of the brand names for it is Cipralex. And I think it's one of the medications that it's like sort of the least effective, but at the same time, it has the least number of or the least intense side effects. And so that's the one that my doctor decided to put me on. And at a quarter dose. Thank you. Somebody, Xiao Maramelu says I like your Kokedama, something so beautiful. Marie and Shui, welcome to the live stream. I'm talking about my journey to anti-anxiety medications, and yeah, so I'm on a tiny dose, a quarter strength, because of my sensitivities to medication, and I've taken 4 doses so far, and I was told that I probably won't notice any sort of like positive changes for a couple weeks at least, and likely 4 to 6 weeks before I notice things are better or worse. But like 4 days in, or 4 doses in, it's been a really interesting journey so far, because I can feel my body up and down regulating my, like my hormones and stuff, because like my anxiety will be like at the normal, like high level of anxiety that I've been living with. And then suddenly my anxiety will drop. It'll just drop like a rock for like 5 or 10 minutes. And that'll feel really good. It's a huge relief. And then my anxiety will like sort of climb back up. And like that's been really interesting. So I can tell that the medication is doing something, and that my body is trying to adjust to that something. So I'm like really like kind of encouraged by that. And then like I have had some undesirable side effects. Some of the common ones, I guess, are like nausea, which I have, and then like for me, I feel kind of like fuzzy brained. It's hard to focus on things, and so like sometimes when I was like trying to work on the plant and talk at the same time, like that was really hard, and I had to stop talking. I had to pick one thing to do. And sometimes my head is a little bit spinny. And like when I drive, I have to be really focused, and like conscious of my driving, where before, like I've been driving a long time, and like normally driving, I just drive and I don't have to think about it, right? But my driving now has to be really conscious, and hopefully, like my body will just kind of adjust over the next few weeks to it, and land on a new normal. But I am encouraged that my anxiety will drop out sometimes. And I did find earlier today that, because I went home before this to rest, and like get some food before coming back and doing this live stream. Because one of the other side effects that I've been experiencing is that I get extremely tired, and I think it's because my body is up and down regulating like hormones and stuff all over the place to try to figure out what to do, and it's exhausting me. But this is the Rhaphidophora terraspermum. I just finished. This is it was really rare before, and it's becoming a little bit more common now. It's an easy plant doesn't require super bright space. Um, Sort of, yeah, a really fun plant. Who has joined? It's Ace Man, Mariana, and Anna Murphy. Welcome to the live stream. It's nice to see you here. I dropped by a whole run through hoping to bump into you the other day, but I wasn't able to figure it out. So if you were there, I missed you because I couldn't figure it out. Okay, now the philodendron Birkin, super cute. There might be 2 plants in here as well. What am I doing? Okay. But that's sort of my journey with anxiety and like anxiety medication so far. And I just like, I'm talking about it because not because like I want, I want people to be like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're having anxiety and that you have to take medications. I talk about it for the same reason that I talk about my journey as a woman who's trans. I talk about it because I think there's stories that need to be told, and like it's not all like scary stuff, and it's like not all horror stories, and to make it more normal, because I heard this thing, I don't remember if it was on like a YouTube reel, no, Instagram reel, or like on TikTok or something, but they were talking about how medication is just like what the ancients did with like herbs and tinctures and stuff like that. Like it's a tool to help you get to a better place. And so that's like how I've been viewing my medication, and like that's really helped me. It's not like, why is there this stigma around I need this at this point in my life, this is what I need to get through my days and to help me live an abundant and full life. Like there should be zero stigma around that. And so I'm sharing this story because I think that's important. I think it's important to take care of ourselves and to realize when, sort of the things that we've been trying may not be working or not working well enough, and to realize where we need help, and to go get that help, whether it's getting into therapy, which I have, thank goodness. And like finding the right therapist, that's a whole other story. I'm gonna sit down. Finding a whole nother therapist, like finding a therapist that fits for you. Whether that means talking to your doctor about possibly like exploring medications. Like sometimes we can't do it on our own, regardless of what Western culture celebrates. It celebrates like, oh, like the maverick hero that kind of does it all on their own, and like sort of all that stuff, where really we're social creatures, and there are times when we need help, and like when they talk about it takes a village to raise a child. I think maybe that applies to all of us and not just kids. Yeah. Okay, Anna, I will message you next time. Anna works down at Cold Renfrew, and it's like a fancy, like, so I want to say department store, like, but it's not really. It's like a collection of boutique stores, like designer. And it's really quite neat. Yeah, so that's my story. Starting Ciprolex and how I got there and how I think that we should make it normal. I'm trying to talk and separate this little baby philodendron Birkin from the rest of the the roots without breaking all the roots. But who else joined? Annie8881, welcome. And Deborah, welcome to the live stream. I'm trying to separate this little baby one. Because I think it's really cute. And I kind of want to save it for myself. But at the same time, its roots are little. Yeah, I'm worried about breaking them all. I don't know. I have a thing for little cute plants. Like Euphorbia leucanera. I think that's how you say it. They're really cute when they're small, and then they get kind of like overly rugged when they're big. Oh, I got it. I got it. Look how cute it is. You better put that in a pot. But yeah, so if you might be, going through, like, if my story resonates with you, like my journey with like anxiety and like feeling like I had to do it all on my own, I want you to know that you don't have to do it all on your own. It's okay to need help and to go get help. And yeah, you don't have to just suffer through it. Yeah. I'm tempted to separate these two, but I don't think I will. It's gonna be risky. 91 Queena, welcome to the live stream. Okay, let's do this soil ball and then we'll do some more moss on this one. So the philodendron Birkin. I recently switched back to the old soil mix that I was using, and then I found that I didn't actually like it compared to the newer soil mix that I was using. the newer soil mix that I was using is much easier to work with. Angelina, welcome to the live stream. And Rick Lou, welcome to the live stream on Instagram. Facebook still has one. Thanks for sticking it out through my whole long story about drugs. And Trixus22, did you bring your guns? Trixus has she has these great arms, and like when she flexes, like the lighting here just kind of, it makes me look like really muscular, but I'm really not. But she is really muscular, and when she flexes, her muscle is like, it's like there's a rock in there. So whenever I always make fun of her guns, and how we need some more gun control here, because she's just walking around with her guns just like out. But I like the guns. Laura, please don't get mad at me. I can't help it. No, still too much water in here. I wonder if we'll have enough moss to do all three. I don't know. Today might be a little bit of a shorter live stream. Can make some butter apparently. So that's the soil ball for the Birkin. I used to, at my old location, I used to have a sink like right behind me. So that was so useful. Now I have to like walk over there for the sink. But like I could just like turn and wash my hands and like not interrupt the live stream or like whatever I was doing. It's really nice. New space, new limitations, but like other things are super cool here. Trix has commented pew pew. Yes, pew pew. The Chefy, welcome to the live stream, and Vanya, welcome to the live stream. Ugh, I should have tied my hair back. Oh well. And then after we finish the birkin, which only YouTube can see at the moment, we'll do this azalea. One of the things about the azaleas are they're quite sensitive to their roots being like messed with. And the azaleas that I get are potted 4 to a pot, and they get really root bound with each other, and the roots are really, really fine, and so it's like almost impossible to untangle them without breaking them. And I try my best, and then I repot them in individual pots to wait and see if they're going to survive. And so I'll show you the difference. So this little one, I don't think is going to make it. Usually when they look like this, they're not going to come back. And this one, like the flowers are quite wilty. I'm not sure if this one is going to make it either. I might chop off a whole bunch of the green to help, and maybe most of the flowers to help it retain more energy. But this one, obviously, is much more healthy. And I did do one earlier this weekend that's doing really well right now too. I actually might not make it to the azalea because I think my meds are like really getting to me now. Kind of the last couple days, like 8 p.m. has been like crawling to bedtime. We're pretty close. But maybe, let's see where we're at once I'm done this philodendron birkin. Something I don't like about this particular moss is that that central stem on this type of moss, it's very stiff, and so it like springs like sort of up and away from the soil ball, and when I press it down, it doesn't like to stay down. Whereas the other type of moss, this kind, is softer and sort of fluffier, but like it tends to stay where you put it. But it's not too bad. Oh, one of the other side effects that I've been experiencing from my meds is headache. And I guess that's not surprising. Oops. I keep turning away from YouTube because I usually have YouTube on this side, but I've moved it to this side. And I'm not used to it. I think I like the previous setup better. And really, ideally, both cameras would be like almost on top of each other. So I wouldn't have to turn side to side. And when I'm looking at one of the cameras, I'm pretty much looking at all of the cameras. So I think I'm gonna see if I can afford to upgrade my video setup, and instead of using the onboard camera from my computer, I'll connect my Nikon Z6 to my computer instead, and use that. I think that'll be a better, clearer picture as well. So. And I'll be able to get a wider shot, so that YouTube will be able to see more stuff. Rudy Pup 7, welcome to the live stream. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna get to the azalea today. My medication is really, really catching up to me. I think if my medication continues to be like this, then I might have to push my live streams to earlier. So probably like 5:45 and for a couple hours. But maybe by this time in 2 weeks, maybe I'll have settled and I'll be okay. But as it is, I need to save some energy so that I can drive home safely. But I will show you the 2 Kokedama that I finished. After I actually finished this one. Louise Lobo, welcome to the live stream. We're just at the very end, so thanks for joining. Oh, this soil is very saturated. Okay, let me clean up a bit here, get stuff out of the way, and I'll show you what we've done today, or tonight. I keep saying today, but it's very much tonight. Okay, right over here. And we'll grab a couple of towels. YouTube, I will adjust you down a bit. So this is the philodendron Birkin that I just worked on. You can see these like really neat striations. They don't show on these like littler leaves, but And my guess is they won't come in on those. That maybe only the leaves on the more mature part will have it. So that's that one. And then this is the Rhaphidophora tetraspermum. Looks like this. And I have my little baby Birkin in there, and then some little Rhaphidophora tetraspermum. Yeah, so I only got through 2, and I got through a really big, long story. On YouTube, we have like 2 viewers. Thanks for joining. And Instagram, thank you for joining. Schuler and Pananal, 1988. Welcome to the live stream. Even though we're just finishing, but you can catch the replay. And thank you for hearing my story about starting on SSRIs for anxiety. And I want to encourage you that if you are experiencing mental health challenges, it is very okay to get help. And like for therapy and stuff, like it can be really expensive. And I was able to eventually get access to a program where they're funding like 9 of my sessions. And that's been incredibly helpful. And so there are many programs like that. And like it can be hard. It can be hard to reach out for help. But it's worth it. You're worth it. Yeah. Okay. Well, until next time. Au revoir.